History repeats itself is a phrase you'd never think of in the tech world, but it holds quite a bit of truth in the industry. With the recent rise in data breaches, you might think that hacking is a relatively new phenomenon that inevitably came with the price of high-tech goodies. Duo Security, however, proves that cyber masterminds were active long before anyone thought possible with its history of hacking infographic. In the good old days. The first recorded hack was in 1903 when Neville Maskelyne intercepted John A. Fleming's demo of a secure, wireless telegraph. The two might not have been the closest of friends, as Maskelyne apparently sent messages insulting Fleming in Morse code. 40 years later, René Camille hacked punch cards used to find Jews in France, which saved many from concentration camps. The idea of hacking went public in 1971 when phone phreaking, a pastime people who love exploring and experimenting with the telephone system engage in, was featured in Esquire magazine. The Hacker's Handbook was released a little while later in the UK in 1980. Taking it to the next level. The 1980s marked the time when hacking took on a more serious edge. Early in the era, 6 computer hobbyists in Minnesota broke into 60 computer systems. The UK also convicted their first hackers, Robert Schifrin and Stephen Gould, for breaking into British Telecom's Prestel email system. Some people used hacking as a way to voice their discontent. Satellite tech John McDougall jammed HBO's signal to air a protest message in response to the company's increase in cost. Hacking only picks up from there. In the early 1990s, the US conducted a 3-day raid to crack down on credit card theft and wire fraud, issuing over 20 search warrants and 4 arrests. DEF CON Hacking Conference, the world's largest hacking convention, debuted a little while later with 16,000 attendees and nearly 180 speakers. Hacker takeover. At the end of the 1990s, it got ugly when the US Department of Justice, Kia, and US Air Force websites vandalized. A little later, Level 7 defaced the US Embassy in China's website with racist, anti-government phrases. One of the US's most wanted hackers, Kevin Mitnick, was sentenced to 5 years in prison on a 25-count indictment that included computer and wire fraud. Hacking incidents skyrocket in number from the 2000s until now. Spam emails of "I love you" infected 50 million computers worldwide, and teenage Ruben Candelario caused a 21-day shutdown of NASA computer systems simply from his home PC. The more eccentric hacks include Gary McKinnon's search for proof of UFOs on US military computer systems, a leak of racy photos from Paris Hilton's sidekick phone, and Sesame Street's YouTube 22-minute stream of pornography. Where we're at and what to do. Recent attacks have hit the headlines, making hackers the spotlights of the past year. 38 million logins and 2.9 million credit card numbers of Adobe were stolen, and Mt. Gox went bankrupt after 850,000 bitcoins, equivalent of $460 million, went missing. The infamous Target breach resulted in a total of 40 million credit card numbers and 20 million records stolen. Finally, the most recent Heartbleed bug enabled the hacker group app to steal personal information from 4.5 million community health systems patients. The list surely isn't going to stop now, but that doesn't mean you should lose hope. While companies should be more proactive in guarding their customers' data, users can take action to protect themselves. Installing and updating antivirus software is a good first step. One of our favorites includes Editor's Choice Norton Antivirus 2014. If you have multiple usernames to different sites with sensitive data, consider using a password manager, like Editor's Choice-1A3, to generate and store hard-to-crack passcodes. You don't want to be next on the list of victims in the hacker timeline. The word hacking has become synonymous with ill-doings, and the amount of affected people might be the reason for that. The meanings of hacking are many, and most are intended to describe the act of engaging in activities, such as programming or other media, in a spirit of playfulness and exploration. But the destructive intentions of some hackers have turned this word into something bad. For a better understanding, let's have a look at the hacking history timeline. A couple of days ago we were presented with a pretty interesting infographic called Hacking History, a timeline of hack tactics created by SSLs, and with the world being full of people that maliciously want to break into your computer today, we knew we just had to present this to you all. It's interesting to see that the hacking history timeline really began back in the 1960s as shortcuts developed to bypass or improve the operation of systems. In our concerned eyes today, even this sounds malicious to a lot of people, but back then it was merely intended to quicker evaluate and improve faulty systems that had to be optimized. As we know, that's not exactly what the word hacker stands for today. The word is, however, misused in the broad perspective and should really be replaced by the word cracking, which is the correct word used in the hacker subcultures around the world. It basically means to force or bypass security systems that are in place to protect the integrity and information stored within the systems attacked. This hacking history timeline is a great overview of the world's most notorious breaches and could serve as a reminder how important it is for all of us to stay up to date with our security updates and passwords in order for our personal information to stay safe. With mobile devices soon to be the most used and accessible computer, it's somewhat worrying to see that we currently care more about the security of our PCs than we care about the security of our mobile devices. After having a look at this hacking history timeline, we are sure you're going to change your mind about that pull quote. 90% of people delete suspicious emails from their PCs, but